Meet Cow and Lee, who are going to tell us how they use the game Dungeons & Dragons to bring men together on a journey of healing.
So at its core, Dungeons & Dragons is a role-playing tabletop game where a group of adventurers go out to tell a story.
It's really interesting from a therapeutic point of view. First of all, I don't think you can underestimate the power of having survivors together. That sort of gets rid of any idea of judgment and makes it a safe space. But also for me, there's something about being one removed from a process, which means people can explore sort of feelings, experiences through the prism of story, which I think is super important for sort of therapy, full stop. Imagination, and they can really explore and also sort of rewriting some of their experience. So they have the chance to do things through the game that maybe they couldn't do in real life.
So especially now and during International Men's Day, it's amazing that different men can come together and meet people, meet other men and other survivors who they normally wouldn't talk to, or they wouldn't get the opportunity to share information with. Or not just share information, but share their stories with, share who they are with. As men, it can be quite isolating and quite lonely because we don't have those skills to make new friendships, or we're not societally given the opportunities to make friendships. So a group like this, where there's an activity involved, where you can potentially distance yourself from it by having a character that you can play with as well, who is a facet of yourself, is really powerful, because you're able to meet other people, meet people you wouldn't normally meet, build friendships and build connections. I have friends from around the world that I've played Dungeons & Dragons with that I'm still in contact with from 20 years ago. So it's definitely something that's an amazing community to get involved with.
Definitely. And you know, my experience of working in sort of groups with men is it's a space where men can be compassionate and caring for each other and support each other, you know, and that sort of shines through very quickly in these spaces. And it's a space where people can challenge sort of notions of masculinity. People can speak without feeling judged. You know, actually, you know, it's not always about those caring, compassionate moments. Sometimes it's about the angry moments, or the sort of maybe slightly darker thoughts and feelings that can come up, you know, and it's a space where that can be, you know, seen and heard and not judged and held, actually. Events like the International Men's Day are really important. You know, it's about giving permission. You know, I think permission for men to speak and be heard. You know. And we're still sort of trying to change that narrative. That narrative is still really strong, you know, amongst a lot of men. That, you know, your internal world's to be kept inside. You know, you need to be this silent sort of silent, stoic man. And I think then you add that into the survivors mix as well. You know, the narrative of silence with survivors is confounded more. You know. So I think it's hugely important.
I'd really echo that. The importance that comes from almost being given permission to break those norms put on you by society, to say it's okay to have feelings, it's okay to reach out and need help, it's okay to not be okay, especially now during a pandemic where people are effectively locked away, maybe even just locked away with their own thoughts that could be quite dark and destructive. Feelings of isolation, loneliness and helplessness. We don't have a lot of ways to deal with those. We're not taught ways to deal with those, especially as men. We're not taught compassion, we're not taught how to help each other. So having these times, having these days to highlight that we can reach out, we can talk to people, we can form D&D groups where we can talk about these things and play with them as well is so massively important for all types of men.